I'm going to spit out my gum because y'all want to sit here and see me chomp gum. Um, so just to remind you about the recording process, I'm spotlighted, and in the recording, you only see me. So I know that if you look at your screen, you can probably see small pictures of everybody on the top of the screen. That's not in the recording, but if you talk, it will be in the recording, but your picture doesn't come into the picture. So just wanted to remind you of what that is. And the purpose of it is for you to be able to watch it at your own leisure, rewatch it, or if for some reason you have to miss class, then you can stay caught up by watching it at your own time. So it's not really intended for people who aren't signed up for the class, although some people do watch it that aren't in the class. So I like for you to be able to have the opportunity to ask questions and just be part of the fellowship that we have in this class. Reminder too of how to get in touch with me. If you do have any questions that you want to ask me outside of class, you have my email. Let's see, I have Fire Tablet. I have a feeling that that is Miss Barbara. You have my email, which is Crosby at hogarc.org. So CROSBY at HOGARC.org. And then my direct phone number is 912-292-9052. So those are the best and easiest ways to get in touch with me if you need to ask me a question. Now, Miss Barbara, is that you on the Fire Tablet?
Yes, ma'am. And
Yes, sir.
Clarence gonna call me, so in case I go off, they're gonna call me.
Okay. Very good. I'm gonna put whoops. I'm gonna change your name from Fire Tablet to Barbara.
Yes, ma'am.
But I talked to Miss Barbara earlier, and she mentioned her Fire Tablet, so that's how I assumed it was her. So thank y'all for coming back for the second class. I know last week I did a lot of yapping, but it was necessary yapping because my intention was for you to be bought into the class. And so hopefully that's why you came back, because you liked some of the things that I had to say. I did remember to get my chair out of my trunk, and this chair is just your regular fold-up chair. There are things I like about it. There are things I don't like about it. So I know that we are kind of at the mercy of what we have in our homes. And sometimes we have things that are perfect, and sometimes we just have to work with what we have. Now, in this room alone, I have probably 12 chairs that are on wheels and that spin. That would be like the worst example of a chair to use for Tai Chi. And then we have the chairs back here that have arms. And the arms would be a deterrent and would be in the way. However, what's good about this chair, it's pretty heavy, so it's very sturdy. But you can see the frame of it. There is no bar in the way. Like on this chair, there's a bar. And that bar is for support of the chair. But this one doesn't have it. So if I'm lifting my feet forward, there's not a bar that gets in the way. So this is a great chair to hold on to or rely on for balance, especially if I, maybe am a little unsteady on my feet. But as far as seated, these arms may get in the way, or the soft and cushiness of it may keep you from feeling very stable in the chair. So this isn't the worst chair that you could use. The spinny chair on wheels would be the worst chair. This chair works pretty good for me because I'm really short, okay? So my arms, I would like for, you see the difference in the height. Because we're talking about utilizing seated Tai Chi for if we don't have stamina. But you see how much higher the back of this chair is. So I can hold on to the back of this chair and there's still a nice space to bend my arms and still use it for stability. Whereas here, my arms are more, they're not locked, but they don't have as soft of a bend as they do whenever I'm here. It's just a slight difference in the chair height. When I sit down in this chair, my feet are grounded on the floor. So that's a good thing. I'm short, and so there are some chairs that are really high, and my feet don't touch the floor whenever I sit down. So that's the good thing about this chair, and something to consider when you think about doing seated Tai Chi. Having a chair where you can scoot up so that your feet touch the floor and you're grounded, and you can still have that good posture, which is part of our Tai Chi principles. What I don't want you to do is to be in a comfy chair. Your recliner that rocks, your recliner that has a lot of cushion. Some recliners spin, and have a lot of movement, and that wouldn't be a stable place to practice Tai Chi from. Also, whenever I talk about having that upright posture in terms of your body structure, I don't want you in your comfy chair just laid back, just, oh yeah, good, good on you, Jennifer. You're looking good doing Tai Chi. Because we want you to be able to utilize the strength in your core, practice upright posture, ground your feet into the floor. Even seated, you want to think about those things. So seated isn't just the let's get comfortable and take the easy way out. You still want to support your body and use your muscles. I told you last week that our first warm-up movements, the ones that we learned last week, are easily done seated because there's not leg work. So if stamina or holding out for a long time is something that you experience, then you might want to start off seated and then stand up, even if you use a chair for stability, when we get to our hips, knees, and ankle part of our warm-ups. So even walking around the room, sitting in a chair, I'm marching my feet in place, open and closing my hands, and bending my arms. And so that's always the first thing that we do. So I'm going to move this chair back out of the way. Oh. But that's what we'll do. First thing, open and closing our hands, bending our arms, walking around the room, getting our bodies warmed up and ready for movement. Because we never want to exercise with cold muscles. It increases our chance of injury. So we want to start with warm bodies. It's still warm outside. Y'all, it was 108 degrees on Friday, and it was hot inside. So I can't imagine what it was like outside. So our bodies were warm just from the environment. So anyway, that gives you some information about a chair to do seated Tai Chi, and I'll visit the chair a couple different times today. But if that's something you're interested in, let me know, and we will do more instruction from the chair. I told you last week about the resources that we have available to you, and I included the Tai Chi for Arthritis DVD that requires a DVD player. We have the seated Tai Chi video. So if you're a strictly seated person, then the seated Tai Chi video may be better for you than this one. Even though in this video you will see people seated and people standing doing the Tai Chi. So again, y'all let me know what resources may serve you best, and I'll make sure that they get into your mailbox. All right, so hopefully you're nice and warmed up. We want to think about our principles as we go through all of our movements, starting with our posture. So it's like a string that pulls up and down at the same time. We have good posture, relaxed shoulders. We're not holding any tension in those shoulders. Our feet are about shoulder width apart. Our weight's on both feet. Excuse me. And we have a soft bend in those knees. So we never lock our joints in Tai Chi. We keep what's called a song joint or an open joint. So whether it be our elbows or our knees or our hips, we keep those open. And that is so that our energy, our life energy, can flow. So here we have our nice stable stance. We're breathing. And we're going to start with the ones that we did last week. 2 for our neck, 2 for our shoulders, and 2 for our spine. Keeping in mind that you can do these very easily from a chair because there are no leg movements. So with our hands to the side, I'll come a little closer. We're going to bring our hands up, palms down, turn and pull them towards our chin and chest, turn and push away from us, and follow those hands all the way down. You should feel a slight stretch in the back of your neck. Bring those hands back up, hands towards our chin and chest. Turn and push away from us, and let me remind you that when you push away, you keep that soft bend. So we're not locking our joints out like Frankenstein. There's that soft bend in those elbows, and then we follow those hands all the way down, chin towards our chest. Check in with yourself and make sure you're not holding your breath, but you are breathing. Typically, we do about 3 per movement and per side. Let's start our other neck exercise where we look towards that shoulder, come back to center, and switch our hands. So our other hand is down here engaged by our hip, and this one we're following to that as we look towards that shoulder. Slight stretches in our necks. We're not going as far as we can go. We're just going until we feel that slight stretch, which helps work on the mobility of our necks. Helps keep that stiffness in our necks from setting in, causing any more pain. I'll move back. That vent is right over top of me, blowing air in my eyes. Hopefully you feel that neck loosening up a little bit. Now let's work on our shoulders. Small circles forward. We think about the size of a quarter, drawing that size on the side of our legs as we go forward. And then let's roll back. We roll back, we always roll back second. You feel like that helps reset your posture. So we roll forward, small circles, and then we roll back. Next, we have our shoulder circle. We bring our hands up and push our hands down. This is a good exercise to practice breath. Inhaling as you bring your hands up and exhaling as you push those hands down. and I just did opposite of what I said I was going to do. But you know, as long as we're breathing, that's all that really matters. Holding our breath is not good. But if you stop and think about it and practice your breath as you come up, inhaling and exhaling. So if you want to think in terms of words where we breathe in calm and we breathe out stress. So thinking about the inhale and the exhale. Gathering the good things that you want to bring into your life and exhaling or letting go things that you don't want. So you can use that move for lots of different reasons. Not just warming up your shoulders, but also practicing breath and then words of affirmation. There's the form of Tai Chi that we do is Tai Chi for arthritis and falls prevention. Dr. Lamb created a whole catalog of Tai Chi for health movements. And one of the ones that he does is called Tai Chi for rehabilitation. I'm not trained in that program. However, it has those words of affirmation and movements that go along with the words. And so that gives you one example of breathing in calm and exhaling stress. And so that can help with healing and rehabilitation, having those words of affirmation. You can enter words that work better for you based on what your needs are. Okay, so those two are for our shoulders. Now moving to our spine, this is where we have our ball. And we're going to, what they call, separate the heavens and the earth. The hand that's on top comes down and pushes, keeping that soft bend in the elbow. And the hand on bottom of the ball follows the spine and pushes up. Pushing and stretching that spine vertically, coming back to our ball and separating, separating but switching sides, come back to the ball and switch. So in terms of breath, inhale as we come to our ball and exhale as we separate for that deeper vertical stretch. Now, not everybody has the range of motion in their shoulder to allow for this movement right here. Some people have one bad shoulder, not both bad shoulders, but just one. So one side, you may not be able to go all the way up above your head that way. So what I want you to do is go wherever you can, wherever you feel comfortable, and then envision in your mind that you're doing that full stretch. Our minds are very powerful, and so we practice what we can, thinking about where we want to go, and gradually you may get there. There's no guarantees. Now, if that causes, if any type of movement up causes you a lot of discomfort or pain, how about stay right here, just in front of your chest? And if you think about a string where you're pulling up and down at the same time, think about stretching that spine vertically with that string. Come back down and switch and pull that string and stretch that spine. So you don't even have to separate those arms in that dramatic way to stretch your spine vertically. You can do it right here, envisioning that string as you stretch that spine. Don't forget to breathe. And I'll usually say that if I've caught myself holding my breath. So just play around with those movements and see what serves you best. But our goal is to stretch that spine vertically. think about all those vertebrae in our spine, and we want to expand that space in between and give it some room to breathe. Now let's stretch our spine horizontally. So back to the ball. The hand that's on top tells us which direction we're going to go. So we start in the middle and we turn our torsos to the direction of the hand that's on top, and we stop just above that knee. Switching our hands, come back across, stopping just above that knee. Remember, we're not going as far as we can go. We're not going way over here. We don't want to twist our spine, hurt our spine, cause problems with our knee as it pulls as we go to the side. So keep that movement small. So practice moving in this small space within the frame of our bodies, as if we went to the Hobby Lobby and ordered a frame just for us. It's just a small movement and a warm up for our spine horizontally. Now we want to get used to this movement and just how small that movement is. It's great to practice it seated because you may be able to see your knee out of your peripheral way differently than when you're standing. You can't see your knee when you're standing unless you have a mirror or a camera, which I highly suggest to do Tai Chi with a mirror or video yourself so you know exactly what you're doing. Because I'm telling you, our minds lie to us. We think we're doing something and we may be doing something different. And the camera's not going to lie. The picture's not going to lie. So doing it seated, you can feel it a little bit differently than when you're standing. And you know if you're seated and you start going far over here, you're going to be pulled out of the chair. So that's when you know you're taking it too far. So whenever you stand up, you're not going to fall out of a chair. You may feel pain in your knee or twisting of your spine, but doing it seated, you can really tell if this part of your hind end starts pulling off the chair, you may be going too far. So it's a simple torso movement. We stop just above that knee, change our hands, and come back across. And I just like practicing things seated anyway, especially the first movements, because you don't have to worry about balance so much. Your chair is holding you, and you can focus on doing these movements. So I really like doing that seated and learning just how small that movement is. So that when we get to waving hands in clouds, which is one of our movements in our basic 6, then we're used to a torso movement where our hands just go along for the ride. All right, so neck, shoulders, and spine. We did that last week. Now we're moving into new territory. So here, I told you last week, this is when it gets complicated when we start doing weight transfer. Now, weight transfer is in our list of principles for Tai Chi. Weight transfer is where magic happens. And so you can do all Tai Chi seated. And in order to engage muscle, when you transfer weight to your right foot or to your left foot, you would push that foot into the floor if you're doing it seated. You're not going to engage muscle the same way as if you're doing it standing, but you know that you have to do what's safe and what works for you. So, if you want to have your chair nearby so you can hold on to it while you do these movements, that's one option. You can stand to the side and do the arm movements with one hand and move to the other side when you go to need to do the other side to move the other hand. You can do that. You can totally skip hand movements by standing behind your chair and doing the weight transfer and leg movement. So that's an option. You can, here I have a table that's not going to move. Now, not everybody has a table that's this sturdy. There's no telling how much this table right here weighs. But I know I can stand near it, and if I feel myself losing balance, I can put my hand down. Same thing with this wall. This door would go somewhere, but if I close the door, it becomes the wall. I can rely on that, leaning into that if I feel like I lose my balance. So the chair may be the sturdiest option or the most reliable option, but just play around with the different things that you have available at your house and what's going to work for you if you can't support yourself without something else, okay? Because the magic happens when we start practicing weight transfer, because remember, the study told us the more we are able to stand on one foot, the longer we're able to do that, the less likely we are to fall. Well, that's because our muscle is so strong. And so transferring weight, we're doing that on a very small scale. We just have our foot still down there beside us to catch us if we need to. So weight transfer is a big deal in Tai Chi, in creating strength in our legs and helping us with balance and falls prevention. So the first set of moves are for our hips, okay? And it involves weight transfer. And so let me talk you through the movement before you give it a try, just because I want you to know what you're getting ready to get yourself into. Because most importantly is safety. So we're starting with our stable stance. I'm going to shift weight to one leg, and it doesn't matter which leg it is, because we'll do it again on the other side. Once all my weight is shifted, I'm going to lift this other leg and tap my heel forward. Then I'm going to bring it to the middle, and then I'm going to tap my toe to the back. Now notice that when I tapped my toe to the back, I didn't go straight back. I went back, but at an angle, just like a kickstand of a bike, because that's going to be more stable than if I went straight back. So we have heel forward, or we tap our heel, we pause in the middle, and then toe back. Hand work. When my toe is back, my hands are going to be forward. That's a counterbalance. That's a cross-lateral movement. And cross-lateral movement is good to work our brains. So hands forward, toe back, pause in the middle, our hands go to our sides, and then our heel forward and our hands go back. Again, counterbalance, cross-lateral movement. Let's switch to the other side. Shift the weight, heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. Notice that toe's at that angle, just like the kickstand. Back to center, heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. The whole time we're keeping upright posture. One more time, heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. Now come back to center and give both feet weight. That leg was screaming at you a little bit, wasn't it? It was working really hard. It's a lot to ask of that leg to hold our weight while we do that. I call it a leg swing. We do that 3 times. So let's go back to this other leg, and heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, toe back, hands forward. Pause in the middle, heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, toe back, hands forward. Don't forget to breathe. And one last time, heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. give weight to both feet. So see what a challenge that is. So I warned you last week about how it gets serious when we start doing weight transfer. We really recognize how strong our legs are. That's how we get them strong if they're currently weak. That's why it's important to have something stable nearby so that we can shift the weight. And if you want to practice with weight transfer, then get behind your chair or hold on to something stable as you shift weight from side to side. So you don't even have to lift a foot, but shift the weight completely to one leg, and then slowly shift the weight completely to the other leg. And so practice weight transfer and pause for just a few seconds once you get all of that weight transferred. And that's like holding weight on one leg and then transfer to the other side. So as you practice weight transfer and you get more comfortable with weight transfer, holding on now, you don't have to let go of your chair, just practice that weight transfer. What I want you to think about is, how is my posture? You know, am I hunched over and bent over? And think about these arms. Like right now I'm hunched over this chair and I have a lot of pressure in the back of this chair. I'm using my arm strength probably more than my leg strength. I just want you to be aware of what you're doing with your body. Our goal is to have upright posture, relaxed shoulders. Utilize this chair as support, but not like this support. Just to catch you if you lose your balance as you shift weight from one leg into the other leg. Okay, so that's to practice if you want to get stronger in your legs just from weight transfer. But that's our first exercise for our hip. Our other exercise for our hip is what I was just doing, shifting weight to one leg. But what I'm going to do with the leg that doesn't have weight is lift and tap it out and bring it back. Shift, lift and tap it out and bring it back. What is our hands doing? We stack our hands and we're going to push. We're going to take those hands in the direction of the weight shift. So if I'm shifting weight to this leg, I'm shifting and moving my hands. Notice I stop at the edge of my body. I stop at the frame and then lift and tap my foot out. Flip my hands and go to the other side. What I'm not doing is taking my hands way out here to where I start leaning. Because once I start leaning, that's taking me towards falling. So there, and then tap. Bring it back. This is why I like a mirror or a camera, because you can really see where those hands are. But you start to become so aware of your body position that you know when you start leaning. You know when you break that upright posture. And you fix it. It doesn't mean you'll never be in a bad position, but you notice it when you are and fix it. Okay? So that movement right there, some people think of a scoop and then a scoop. So if you don't want to think about like pushing or opening a curtain, you think scoop and scoop. So those two are for your hips. Next we have our knees. More weight transfer. So the two movements for our hips and the two movements for our knees, they're the most challenging because of that weight transfer. So the hand movement of our knee stretches and warm-ups, we have a loose fist. So we never clench our fist. We have a loose fist like we're holding an egg. They're engaged. They're down here by our hips. So they're not just like, you know, flapping around out there. We have them engaged, our loose fist. What we're going to do with our feet, shift weight to one side. And this other leg, we're going to lift, tap that toe out to the floor, and we're going to punch that opposite hand. So right here is a cross-lateral movement, which is good for our brain, and a counterbalance. Bring it back, shift, lift, tap, and punch. Notice whenever we punch, we don't completely extend that arm. We keep that soft bend. We're not really punching anybody. Shift, lift, tap, and punch. Bring it back. And if you think to yourself, I'm doing the wrong hand and the wrong foot. My brain is wanting to do the same side. That is exactly right. Your brain wants to do the same side, and that's why cross-lateral movement is good for your brain, because it challenges your brain. So meet the challenge. Place one first, whether it be your arm or your leg, and then add the other. If you're having a hard time doing both at once, then do one and add the other. And work your way towards doing them at the same time. So we're training our brain to do these cross-lateral movements. And that is the first one for our knee. Next one for our knee, it looks very similar in that we punch the opposite leg that is stepped forward. So we're going to shift the weight. We're going to place the foot forward. And notice I said place, not step. In Tai Chi, we do an empty step. So we place the foot before we give it weight. So now we're getting ready to give that foot weight. And I'm going to shift forward as I punch. Now what's happening with my back foot is it stays on the ground. As soon as I were to lift that back, let me turn to the side. If I were to lift that back heel off the floor, you see what it did to my body? It pushed my body forward, which takes me out of upright posture. So if both of my feet are grounded and I shift weight forward, then I stay upright. And so that's important, is to keep that upright posture. It's also important to note that you maintain weight on both feet. You shift weight forward, but not all of your weight. Also, think about your knee. You keep that knee behind the toe. So you're not going to bend it so far that your knee goes beyond your toe, because if you do that, you'll hurt your knee. So it's a really small movement, and it has that weight transfer forward with the punch, bring it back, and now place your feet side by side. So now we're going to shift the weight, empty step, shift and punch, keeping both feet on the floor, bring it back, feet side by side. Slow, smooth, and continuous, which is a principle. We move that way. Upright posture and weight transfer, thinking about our body structure. Shift and punch, bring it back. What I really like about this movement is that we transfer weight side to side, but we also transfer weight front and back. So we're really working the full muscle that surround our hips and that are in our legs, our knees, our ankles. I mean, we are working it right here as we shift in all directions. So this is a great one to practice, even if you just hold on to your chair and you shift weight side to side like I showed you a while ago, or you get yourself in what's called a staggered stance where one foot is further up than the other, and you shift forward and you shift back, and you shift forward and you shift back. And you can feel all those muscles. I mean, you just really think about the muscles you're using specific to your knees as you bend and bend. That creaking is this floor. It is not my knees. If y'all can hear that creaking. And then switch and get in a staggered stance the other way and shift forward and shift back. And so I can hold on to my invisible chair or a real chair. I like the invisible chair so y'all can still see me. I'm thinking about upright posture. I'm not leaning forward or leaning back with this movement. I'm maintaining that posture as I shift weight front and back. So that's a really good weight transfer moment to have using something that's stable. And those are the movements that are for our knees. Our last set of warm-up movements is for our ankles, okay? So we don't have hand movements for ankles, so this is a good time to hold on to something stable, or you can simply place your hands in front of you like this. So there's weight transfer involved, of course. So we transfer the weight, and the other foot we do heel toe, heel toe. Rocking that foot and working on the mobility of that ankle joint. And our ankles are so important to balance and movement. If we have weak ankles, then we can easily twist and fall. We twist that ankle and fall. So we want our ankles to be strong as well. Not just these bigger muscles, but these smaller muscles down at the bottom parts of our legs and feet. So heel toe, heel toe. Let's go back to the other foot, and we're going to go big toe, little toe. So we're going side to side. And that movement right there may feel a little more awkward. You might not move as easily side to side, but the more you practice, you'll have better range of motion and mobility of that joint. Shift, and finally, little toe, big toe. I always go right to left. So depending on the foot, side to side is the name of the game for that ankle joint. And so that helps with the circulation in your legs too. You can practice that seated very easily. If you find yourself seated for long periods of time, sit and do heel toe, heel toe. And it's a little more awkward to do the big toe, little toe. So what you can do is scoot back in your chair so the seat of the chair supports your leg. And you can put your feet in the air and do heel toe. And you can do like windshield wipers where you're going side to side. You can turn, little toe, big toe. So seated version of ankle movements, you may be able to do bigger circles that you don't necessarily do whenever you're standing. But practice working that full mobile joint of our ankles. That's a ball and socket joint, so it goes all in a circle. Whereas our elbows and our knees are hinge joints. They just bend and open. Our shoulders and our ankles are ball and socket joints. So they have a whole range of motion that they go. That's our warm-up stretches and warm-up movements that we do every class. Now, each week, we'll talk less about it and just do it. And so when we learn, we have to talk about the pieces and parts of the movement. So we'll spend a lot less time with these warm-ups, but nonetheless, we'll do the warm-ups every time. Next week, we will start on our commencement movement of our Tai Chi. Our Tai Chi is a series of movements done in a certain order. And so the class is progressive, where we learn a movement, practice that movement, then we learn the second movement. And it's done, we just learn it and it builds on each other. By the end of class, hopefully we'll have learned, not the end of class, the end of this series of classes, we'll know our basic 6, and we've dived into our advanced 6 a little bit. So always know you can stop me and ask questions. We will go over it and go over it and go over it. But we want to make sure that you understand what each movement, or what's involved in each movement. But our warm-up movements really give us a taste of principle, give us some experience of weight transfer, give us some experience with cross-lateral movement, which is challenging for our brain, and lots of practice with upright posture, slow, smooth, continuous. So let's review our warm-ups, and then we'll cool down. Just as a reminder that we do warm-ups 2 for our neck, and the 2 for our neck are, remember, we start with that body structure upright stance that is shoulder width apart, no tension in our shoulders, really no tension anywhere, and we're breathing. So for our neck, we bring our hands up, palms down, turn and pull them towards our chin and chest, push away from us, and follow those hands all the way down. So you should feel a slight stretch in the back of your neck when you come chin towards your chest. Now let's do our other neck exercise. It starts out that same way. And now we drop one hand to our hip and we follow this hand to the side and back to the front. A tip here I want to tell you is to make sure that you have an open joint in your armpit. So your armpit breathes. We're not just collapsing our armpit closed. It's out away from our bodies. Our arm is out away from our bodies as we go from side to side. And that open joint of our armpit, so not just our elbows, not just our knees, allows that energy to flow. So those 2 are for our neck. The next 2 are for our shoulders, and that's where we roll small circles forward and roll small circles back. We try to do about 3 each side, or 3 movements all together for each movement. So then we have our shoulder circle. I'm kind of struggling with words today, but that's okay. And come up and push down. Remember, I told you that movement can be done to practice breath, to practice those words of affirmation, to practice that gentle resistance, to move as if the air is heavy. And those 2 are for our shoulders. Then we get to our spine, where we have our ball, and we separate, stretching that spine vertically. Remember, if that's too much of a movement for you, we can be small and have that stretchy string and stretch that spine. Then we do horizontal, where we go side to side, noting that we don't go as far as we can go. It's a very small movement. It's a torso movement. The hands are going along for the ride. Okay? That we learned last week. That's our review of our upper bodies. What we learned this week, 2 for our hips. That's when magic happens with weight transfer. So we shift weight to one leg. We place the heel forward, hands go back. We pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. And then the other side, we do 3 on each side here. Or you can do 1 on each side and go back and forth. 1 gives you more experience with weight transfer, and the other one makes you practice stamina, or how long that leg holds out. Because if you're holding that weight on this one leg the whole time that you're heel toe, then it's building up the endurance of that muscle. But if you're switching each time, then that gives you more experience with weight transfer. So you can't lose doing it either way. All right, so that one is for your hips. The other one for your hips, we shift to the side and tap that toe, shift to the side, tap that toe. That one's for our hips. Then we have our knees where we have our loose fist. We shift, lift, tap and punch, bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch. And then the knee one where we step empty, then shift forward or to the front foot, keeping upright posture, punching out with the shift, feet side by side, shift, place foot, shift and punch, bring it back, side to side. That's for the 2 for our knee. Now the 2 for our ankles, we heel toe and heel toe. Taking special time for the weight transfer and then the little toe, big toe, where we go side to side. Big toe, little toe. Now give yourself a good shake. Your body's worked hard. So we think of warm-ups as, oh, just something we kind of rush through, or oh, just something that's not that big of a deal. You know, we might just brush off warm-ups as not important. But we literally could do warm-ups for a whole hour, get the benefits from Tai Chi because we do it with our principles in mind. We do them slowly, smooth, and continuously. We think about our posture and no tension. We do weight transfer. We think about our joints being open. You may think about in certain times that the air's heavy, practicing gentle resistance. So even in the warm-ups, practicing principle gives us the benefits. So don't rush through them, don't skip them. Appreciate our warm-ups. My class changes depending on where I am and who my audience is. And so when I was teaching strictly seated Tai Chi at the nursing home, we mainly did warm-ups for our time together. And then when we went to learn some additional moves, I picked moves out of our basic 6 Tai Chi that they could do from a seated position and get benefits from. For the most part, they didn't have the memory to learn that series of movements. So we can get a lot just from the warm-ups. But we're going to learn more than that. I just want you to know, don't discount those warm-ups. All right, so we'll do that every time, and then at the end we will cool down, starting with a nice fist massage. We make our loose fist, and we bring those knees up, and we allow that fist to land and massage these leg muscles that have worked so hard for us as we transferred weight and done all these moves, whether it be specifically for our hips, specifically for knees or ankles. We have worked these legs. So be prepared to be sore, especially this week when we've done so much weight transfer. And so this is one way you can help with soreness is by breaking up lactic acid that builds up in your legs, and that's what causes soreness. All right, next what we do in our cool down is gather tension so that we know what it feels like. We recognize it so that we let it go whenever we recognize it in ourselves. So we purposely gather tension and then we let it go. Inhale and hold that tension, and then exhale as you release that tension. So it's gather and release. Gather and release. We may be holding tension and don't even realize it because we don't stop to recognize what that tension feels like so that we can let it go. We have to know we're holding it to know to let it go. Then we do our shoulder circle. We do that in the beginning and the end. So we do it to warm up our shoulders, but then we do it in the end. So you see how valuable this simple movement is. Again, for our shoulders, practicing gentle resistance, practicing breath, practicing words of affirmation, where we bring certain things into our life and release certain things in our life. You can think about those words as you inhale and exhale with that simple movement. And then we have our right fist, a loose fist, a mirror image to you. This represents our strength. Our left hand, our fingers are all together. That represents our friendship. And our thumb comes in. We put those together, and in mutual respect, we say namaste. And namaste is that word that means everything in me respects everything in you. And so that is a word that's on our t-shirt, the t-shirt that you can earn if you are a completer for this class, which means you'll come to 11 of the 16. And of course, I want everybody to earn their t-shirts. Do you have to practice outside of class? No, you don't have to practice. Are you going to be better for it if you do? Yes. Do you have to practice all of these moves that we go through in class? No. Pick one. Practice that. Maybe you're like, oh, I can at least remember the neck one. Or, ooh, I can remember that shoulder circle one. Spend some time with that. Oh, I know she talks about weight transfer. Let me just hold this chair or stand here and shift weight from one leg to the other. Let me do Tai Chi walking, which is weight transfer, where I slow my roll on that walk and I shift the weight. I place that foot out there. Then I shift that weight. Then I place that foot. Then I shift the weight. The whole time I'm conscious of my posture. So I'm walking forward. Or maybe I Tai Chi walk to the side where I step and shift. And follow step. Shift. So you can practice Tai Chi in lots of different ways. Heck, you can lay down in the dark with your eyes closed and just think about it. And that's practice because it's putting it to memory. So you can practice without actually doing it. I just encourage you to do something between now and next Tuesday. If I can be any service to y'all, let me know. You know my email, you know my phone number, and just call me or message me, and I'll get your questions answered for you. If you haven't already, please send your registration form back so I have that on file. And I guess that's all I have today. Y'all have anything for me? Y'all have any questions for me? Good. All right. Well, let me know if you think of anything. So we'll do it again next week. Thank you for being patient as we get started, being patient with yourself for movements that are new and maybe feel a little bit awkward. You'll be amazed being committed to the class how much you'll grow in the next 16 weeks. All right. I love y'all, and I'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye-bye,
All right.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.